Yes, we're live. And I just got a message that we're live. So we're live.
And here we
I'm
go.
over here, getting my groove on, but there's no music.
Category is All Stars. Oh, honey. Woo. That's how I roll. I just farted. Wake up, wake up, wake up. This ain't no dream. I'm back to provide you queen. Ow. I think I just broke my ankle doing that. That looks pretty good for a dead bitch. Hey, yo, oh. I have some unfinished business. Hi, everyone. It's me, Vanilla Cram. Again. Uh-oh. Round two, bitches! Looks like the boss got an upgrade, and so did I. Hallelujah, I'm back, bitches! Again.
That's right, kitty girls. Welcome to Cubs Out Loud Drag Race T-Time All-Stars Season 3, motherfucking Episode 1. It is January 29, 2018. As you may be familiar, my name is Gary. With me are my illustrious and gorgeous co-hosts.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Aw.
Hello,
everyone. It's Damon.
Hi.
Really?
How's everybody?
Both you bitches just walking right over top of each other for the ending.
Well, I will own that I'm having some issues. So I'm not hearing everything, but that's okay. It's probably my computer, and I'm not going to worry about it. So there's that. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
La-da-da.
I just poured myself a big-ass glass of wine because, yeah. Because we're going to be talking some shit.
We are spilling the tea.
To say the least. Okay, so plan is if we can get this shit figured out, hopefully in another week we'll have the technology correctly where we need it to be. But Chester, Damon, and I, weekly, we're going to review the show. Episode 1, we find out who the queens are. So here's kind of where it is. Let me play this little ditty.
Gentlemen, start your engines, and may the best woman win.
Because that's the competition, baby. May the best woman win. Thoughts on the episode? So my thought basically is it's back, bitches. And so are we. It's All Stars 3. We think we know what's going to happen, and yet we don't. And we'll kind of get to that in a moment, I'm sure. Yeah. So we've got 9 queens, a mystery 10th queen that does get revealed, which is apparently the gag of the year. And I'm sure we're going to get into that.
For some people.
For some people, true. I'm happy. I'm excited. I went into high analyzing mode. I think I've seen the premiere episode 5 times now.
I watched it 4, and I know Evan just watched it again for like 8.
I will say this. I don't want to get to this just yet. In a moment, I'm going to explain about how I went back and I watched a previous season for some insight on something that's going on. But I'm excited. I'm happy that it's back. We will see what comes out of it.
True.
That's all I'm going to say for now. Damon, what about you? What are your thoughts on the episode?
I pretty much am saying this is going to be good. Like, one of the things I've always enjoyed about All Stars is that everyone is pretty much at the top of their game, as it were. When you see them at first, you see them as like, I don't want to say inexperienced, but they're now on TV. They've been on TV now. They're now stars, in the sense that, as with most queens on the show, yes, you have some notoriety when you join, RuPaul's Drag Race, but from there, your careers and what have you kind of skyrocket, and that's kind of the case with most of these queens. Couple of exceptions, and that's pretty much where I'm at. Like I've always enjoyed the fact that everyone. I'm not saying everyone's on the quote unquote same playing field, but everyone has kind of been through this before in some capacity or another, and because of that, I enjoy the fact that I feel like it's going to make for a better show. Some of the things that were said in this season, just in this first episode alone, kind of give me the good feelings, the good vibes, because even like season 1 of All Stars had the whole pairing issue, which I think everyone kind of hated. So last season we came up with this whole lip sync for your legacy, and the top queens are taking someone home, and that made for a very quick dynamic shift of the whole show, and it added another element to it. So they're keeping that this season. I'm glad they are, and on top of that is the girls are definitely already kind of having conversations about it, because they kind of know what's going to happen, or at least they have an inkling of what's going to happen, but you never know what's going to happen. And that's what I'm really, really enjoying. There's a lot of little things here and there that are really making it great for me. Chester?
So for me, I decided to do something different with watching the premiere. Evan and I went to a restaurant and bar here in Columbus, Union Cafe, and Chi-Chi DeVane was there, and she was basically emceeing the show. Like during the break, she would come over and she'd be on stage and do a little bit of talking or whatever. So I believe that played a huge factor in my excitement for this particular episode, because up until the episode aired, I was just like, yay, great, Drag Race is back on. I can, watch something current again. I wasn't super invested in any of the queens out of the ones, the 9 that we knew. Aja, Ben, and Trixie are my 3 favorites. Everybody else is just like, yeah, they're okay. It makes no difference to me if they're on the show or not. Even the other 3, I'm just like, I like them. I'm just not really invested in them. So, going back to watching it at Union Cafe with Chi-Chi there, like I said, I wasn't really invested in the show. However, the energy in the restaurant when the show was going on was just like being at a sporting event. You had so much, positive, good vibes from everybody around. And when something would happen on the show, people would quote it, or they would laugh, or they would cheer. Or when Chi-Chi came up on the show, the entire place, it just sounded like thunder rolling through, because everyone was screaming. So I believe for me, that had a huge impact on my reaction to this show, or to this very first one, I should say. So I'm kind of interested in what's going to happen on the second show for me, and if how excited I am over it stays, because I've watched it now 4 times myself, and I find myself smiling widely because I remember of how I felt the first time I watched it at the restaurant.
So you're concerned that the crowd mentality may have gotten the better of you, and maybe you're not as excited?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I was not excited as I I wasn't as excited about watching the premiere.
Okay.
Right.
But because of where I was at the end of it, when we left, I was like, "Oh my god! I cannot believe how great that episode was." And then I keep playing it back in my mind, and I'm like, "There wasn't anything that special about it." In the grand scheme of things, there are certain key things that I absolutely loved that I keep. Like every time I watch it, rewatch the episode, I'll rewind certain key parts that I just fucking love. I'm going to talk about them later in my snaps and eye rolls.
Right.
But yeah, it was just what I'm fearing. What I hope doesn't happen is when I watch episode 2 that I'm not as invested in it anymore.
Okay.
That's what I was getting at. I think the crowd played a huge factor in how much I loved the episode, but I'm hoping it didn't.
So what I'm curious though is, are you planning Chester to go to Union Cafe every week to watch the next episode?
We intended on it. As soon as we left there, Evan said that he had an amazing time doing it, and I'm like, oh, thank fucking God, I found something fun for him to do. And I enjoyed it myself. So I was like, well, it wasn't that expensive, so if you want, we can come back next Thursday. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. So I immediately made a reservation. And then yesterday we realized, ooh, you know what? We can't because we've got other stuff going on next Thursday. But that's okay, because I said, all right, well, I'll just change my reservation from episode 2 to episode 3.
Well,
okay.
You may want to. Oh wait, maybe not.
No, he'll be good. I know what you're thinking. Probably, I think I know what you're thinking about the calendar, and I'm like, so you're gonna miss a week, go a week, miss another week, and then maybe the week after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because
there was in my head, I was like, oh, what the? Oh wait, that's in a. Oh, not.
Yeah, I know. Because the three of us are going to be on the road at another location. So.
Yeah, we've really got to figure that out. You know, I think that maybe we can find a bar or something like that to go to in Lexington that's going to show it.
Why?
Well, how are we going to watch it live?
On my laptop?
Or we could watch it on your laptop. Ooh, bring an HDMI cable and maybe we'll hook it up to a TV.
That's a maybe. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what we can do. If I take my Apple TV for my MacBook Pro, if I'm watching it live on VH1 online, which is how I watched it, I was mirror broadcasting it to my TV. So the only thing that was super fucking annoying about that version is that VH1 broadcast stream live played the same 4 commercials like 2 or 3 times in a row, every single commercial break.
Yeah,
I was so nauseous of the same commercials over and over again. I was like, "Oh, y'all need more advertising."
The Skittle one was kind of neat, though.
What's that?
Not that I want to derail our show, but the Skittles one was kind of neat.
There wasn't a Skittles one for online.
Oh, well, I watched a Skittles commercial about catching an infection. But it was something like, catch the infection, taste the infection, or something like that.
What's wrong, Billy? I have Skittles pox.
Oh, good Lord. No.
I've seen that. I watched, well, that's until today. I watched pretty much live TV, so I don't remember that being part of the show, but I've seen that commercial before.
Okay.
Fun times.
Infect the rainbow, taste the rainbow.
Yes, infect the rainbow. That's what it was.
Okay, so this season, just so everybody's aware, if you've watched previous seasons of T-Time for COL Drag Race, we are taking some stuff out. We're trying to condense it a little bit because we don't want to be, no offense, we don't want to be on here for hours discussing stuff. And as some of the criticism has been given to us, which I thought was constructive, is do we really need a play-by-play of every fucking thing that happens? No, there are other recap shows that will do that. So, the thing that I want to talk about, though, is the gag of the season. It's not in our notes, but I know the two of you know what this is. So the 9 queens are revealed, and what we played at the beginning was entrances of all the queens coming in, starting with Trixie. We get the 9 of them, and then all of a sudden we get whoop, and, you know, so they got to go over and see, you know, the television screen of Mama Rue talking to them.
Who already done had hers.
Right. And then Rue comes in and starts talking to them, and you could tell they're all kind of like, this is it? And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, there's been seasons with not many queens. Like, it doesn't have to be 12 or 14. And then that's when she drops the mic, and she's like, well, I do, before we get the competition officially started, want to bring in the 10th queen. And that's when the gag happens, because, spoiler alert, Bibi Zahara Benet, winner of season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race, is the 10th queen.
What?
I know. I am still not sure how I feel about this.
I've been having so many thoughts about it. I know we're probably going to get into it a little bit, but I want to hear what you guys think once we can get to it. Or are we going to get to it?
I think this is us getting to it, because it's not really in the notes. I mean, we're gonna have snaps and eye rolls, you know, and I don't see in that this is a part of that. So for me,
this is my,
you know, I was just like, holy shit. Like, I will say this first. I thought Bibi looked fucking amazing for her entrance. Like, she had a great outfit on. And as someone pointed out in a recap, I love a bob that moves. That made me laugh in that recap. And I was like, you got a good point. Girl got a bob on, and it actually moves like real hair. So no, I thought she looked amazing. Ben de la Creme says something amazing about, like, I am intimidated. Now, this is too extreme. She's like, this is like if RuPaul decided to join the race too. And I was like, no.
That may be a little too much. But yeah. Well, I guess in a sense, because she was the first. Like, that's the only thing. Like, she's been supposedly the one that's been there the longest.
And for me, I just look at it and I'm like, so? It's been 9 years.
All right. So yes, it has been 9 years. This is now the 12th season of RuPaul's Drag Race, including the All-Stars. So we're at 12 total seasons. This is the 9 years ago was the very first season. So this is what I was referring to. I went back and I was able to find online the lost season, the elusive season 1 that was never released on DVD. I finally figured out why the fuck I can't buy it anywhere. It's not even like on eBay or shit for like $300. Oh, that's because Logo never actually released it as a DVD set. There are fake like box cover images, but it's actually not apparently ever been released. So you can only get it as pirated from streaming like type stuff, because back in like 2013 or something, Logo did a recap and they ran all the seasons, and I think they did it again this year. So if people were smart, they would like record it to like a DVR box or some shit, and then they would like, you know, put it online.
Yeah.
So I'm owning this right now. Like, listen, Viacom/Logo/World of Wonder, I would have paid for the fucking season if you'd release it. But so I watched the season 1, a really super shitty like pirated version, and then I found a better one. Y'all can you can all reach out to me for the better one. It's not high quality, but then again, it was 9 years ago. So, but it was really interesting because I was like, I got to remember Bibi in the first season. I got to see what's going on. And Trixie said something that I found out was false. Trixie makes a comment about, you know, having Bibi back, like she's never, you know, had a loss and she's never, you know, taken a fall. Ixnay Trixie, she actually was in bottom 2 in season 1. She had to lip sync for her life, and she had a bad week where she did not really do well and mentally was crippling and falling apart. So
yeah,
that's a misstatement. Like, and that's fair to say though, because I think that was, again, 9 years ago. It was recorded in 2008, technically the summer. And so it's probably hard for anybody to remember what happened. So I think there's a very interesting move by Rue to bring back the winner of the very first season when we started specific catchphrases like hello, hello, hello that Rue says. She said it in the very first season. You know, there's a lot of stuff that kind of carries through And I think BB is a very interesting selection to bring in. Now, I did see a video today that really kind of turned me off because I didn't realize it, so it was too late when I was watching it, that basically proposes a spoiler theory as to why she's a part of the cast. And I'm not really going to get into it in this because I'm really mad at myself that I was not catching soon enough that they were explaining why they think she's actually in the cast. And I'm like,
Oh.
Again, another twist and turn thing that has been promised this season.
Oh God. Okay.
So,
well, I will say this about it. Excuse me. One thing I like the idea behind it. What the way they formatted it or framed it is, it was 9 years ago, and of all the queens in that season and from second season on, even. They've all kind of were able to reap a majority of the benefits of being on the show. Like they got, some got record deals, some got, got to see the world. They got to do all this and that, and their careers were very much launched as Gary finishes a bottle. And I don't, I'll be blunt. I don't really think BB got that opportunity. They didn't get nearly as much money, which does help things. And then, no offense, unlike the other seasons that you can watch on, what's it called? You can stream it, you can download it, whatever, you can buy it, you can purchase it. You can't purchase season 1. So you don't get to see it unless you pirate it or what have you. So no one gets to really see that season. And with the exception of Nina, Tammy, and Chanel that showed up in All Stars 1, we've not really seen any of the other queens from season 1. I mean, think about it.
Sorry.
Okay, good to know.
I'm going to own.
Woo, there's some shade. Okay. But yeah, that's my thing. That's my thing, is that a lot of that never got out there, so that those queens never really, they got their 15 minutes because they were on the show, and if you happen to be watching the show at that time, you're able to see it, and after that, you don't really see it anymore because they stopped showing it. I know they have stopped showing it, and except for this recently, the recap that they did of season 1, that's been it. Like, there's not really been anything else really to kind of boost it up. So in reality, if you compare BB to, say, well, I'll use Bob the Drag Queen, who was like season 9, season 10. Those queens are totally different in regards to where they were and what happens after the show or before and after the show. You get this major pull because you have all this interest and fans and what have you. And I don't think the queens in that first season really got that opportunity. So I get why she's there, and I'm okay with it.
All right,
for the most part.
But here's what I've wanted since the very beginning, and Michelle Visage gave voice to it, and she's not the originator of this. This shit's been going on in the COL, like not COL, sorry, in the RuPaul's Drag Race family community for years, that we need to have an all winners season.
Yes.
And that's the part that irks me about this, is like, that's the season I would expect BB to come back. And yeah, I get that not all the winners necessarily want to recompete. That's fine. You don't have to. It's your loss. Especially if they really up the ante and they like double the financial amount, or even go for like $250,000. You can't tell me that a previous winner queen ain't going to come back. Even Bianca might have to think twice about that. So that's the part where I'm really kind of still beside the whole situation going, what the fuck is this about, bringing BB back? Yes, it was 9 years ago, and it was the very first season, and it was very different then, and it was one of the few seasons that did not have Snatch Game. We did not have Michelle at that time. We had Santino Reyes. We had what's her name? Merle. So yeah, I mean, it was just, it's one of these things that I'm like, I don't know. no. She rightfully won that season. And I was highly amused by Milk's comment about, Grandma, sit down. Let another queen have a chance at the crown. Like, I was like, I can't blame her for being kind of like, a little bent out of shape or miffed about.
And I can see why the queens were upset. Because again, I can see why the queens were upset. Because unlike other seasons, everyone in All Stars didn't actually win. That's kind of been the thing, and also no offense, I don't think any of the queens were like bottom, like 2, 3, 1 or 2 or 3. I could be wrong. Maybe Tammy, but I can't. I would have to go through all the seasons and figure out who's been in All Stars and go through that, because there's a part of me just like thinking that they've not been like. It's not been a Nicole Paige Brooks or a what was that? Her Magnolia Crawford. It's not been one of those who've been like, no offense, have gone out like in the first couple of episodes. It's always been someone who has gone on. Now, I'm not saying necessarily they've been top 5 or whatever, but they've always been someone a little bit higher up. Not saying it's all about competition levels and whatever, but there's a
right. I know. I think you're correct, because I'm doing a quick look. Maybe I'm First is the only low level individual, and I only say that because in her original placement in season 3, she was 11th.
Yeah,
and that was All Star season 1. All Star season 2, the lowest rank was what, 5th? No, 6th. Alyssa was 6th, and she placed 5th. So actually that season was a lot of runners up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one, half the cast was all runners up. So this one's a little different. There's no runners up. Aja, no. Well, technically Shangela is the lowest because she was 12th in her first go round, season 2. And then in season 3, she went home at 6th. There's 6th place, 6th place, 6th place, 4th, 5th.
And Thorgia's bottom 7th.
And then there's 9th and 8th. So, yeah, I mean, so that's the gag. BB's there. Chester, what do you think? Because Damon and I have been kind of monopolizing this topic.
When we found out who the 9 queens were going to be, there's been enough leaked information about who the 9 queens were going to be, and then they got confirmed. We knew there was going to be a 10th one, and Evan immediately said, "I'll bet you anything it's going to be BB." And I'm like, "Well, why do you think that? She's already won." He said, "It's because she's been out of the loop for so long. Everybody else that has gone through winning, for the most part winning, and basically everybody from season 4 on up have become mainstream names for the most part. BB doesn't have that, and she only got a measly $10,000 when she won. Is that what it is? 10,000 or 20?
Something like that.
BB in the first season?
Yeah,
she won 20K.
20,000.
$20,000
compared to the other ones who are winning, $100,000. I realize that some of the other seasons, they won like 25, and then I think it was up to 50. But regardless, he has a point that the other queens have. You get on the show, and immediately you have star power behind you. What you do when you leave the show is completely up to you, but it still helped propel their name forward. BB didn't have that.
It's all circumstantial in my opinion. I mean, so Rue makes a joke about the internet wasn't even born yet. Check yourself, Mama Rue, because actually the internet came around in the mid-90s, just for the record. I know she's not good with numbers, but still.
I think she was making that a joke.
Right, I know.
I think she means more in the sense of things being viral, like Twitter and Instagram and
right,
Facebook.
like things being right, and things being social media. And so yes,
Right.
in that essence, like we had just begun to really see Facebook make a place, because it's not mentioned in that entire season. It's all about .com. So it's RuPaul's Drag Race.com or logo.com or logotv.com or whatever. So yeah, no, it's very interesting. I don't know. I'm still kind of bent out of shape about this concept of bringing back a past season winner. Because she already won, and Rue makes a point of saying that if BB wins, she will be the first drag queen ever to be crowned twice.
Yep.
So now here's my thing. Chad and Alaska are already in the Drag Queen Hall of Fame as seasons 1 and 2 of All Stars winners. Is that going to chap their ass if BB really wins? So you got to come back and be an all-star, but now the bitch that joins you has 2 crowns. But she's the third. So does that outrank her? You know what I mean? And does it really matter? Fuck no. But people say all sorts
it's something to think about. Yes.
So
well. That's that. I think overall the show went really well. The whole variety show was a really great idea. I think I'm liking and not liking this whole concept of the variety show. They did it last year. They're doing it this year. It's kind of a way to no offense, I think it's a way to show everybody what they're doing, how good they are, where they're at, kind of thing.
This is something that I noticed, that this show, the premiere episode of season 3, was exactly the same as season 2. And I remember when we left the bar and we're walking down the street and we're talking about how great the show was and everything. Evan's like, well, did you think anything bad was in the show? And I'm like, yes, actually, you know what? The fact that everything is basically season 2 all over again. And then I thought about it and I'm like, while it annoys me a little bit because we don't really know what the huge twist is just yet, with Chad and Alaska. There's that twist that we don't know what that twist is, and it's still coming, and it could be like season 2 where we've kind of got that little glimpse of the twist, but it isn't until halfway through the season where the face crack happens.
Right.
But after I said all that, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm actually not upset about it, because I loved season 2. I loved season 2 from start to finish because of how well it was produced and put together and packaged and delivered to the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I agree that of the All-Star seasons, 2 is far better than 1.
Correct.
And if you watch all 12 seasons now, or 11 plus, as the case may be, you'll see the evolution of shit that they've been doing.
Yes, they have. Yeah. They are figuring out what works, what does not work. If it does work, they're bringing it back. If they're, hey, Milk, you were going to wear a beard on stage, you know what? Maybe we should do that as a challenge.
Okay, so I want to talk about that for a moment, because Milk brought that up, and it's been said a couple of times now. Milk's actually said, my whole purpose for being on All Stars is to present new ideas for challenges in the future. She has decided to own that as her own personal label, that this is what happened. I was on the season. No, I did not necessarily win, but you know what I did? I brought new ideas and trends to the thing. And there's a part of me that's like, well, that's fine. You can do that as a contestant, but bitch, why don't you get hired as an artistic director or something with the production company?
Creative consultant.
Thank you. I don't think you need to be a competitor. That said, for the first time in Drag Race show history, for the variety show, Milk did something that was not done before. And I thought the paper doll routine was very interesting. It took me till the 3rd out of 5 times watching the show to figure out how the fuck she was doing it.
Oh, Velcro.
Right, but the Velcro was such a great match to the nude of the bodysuit. I couldn't catch it the first 2 times. Now, to be fair, the second time I wasn't looking that closely, and it wasn't until it was over that her number, and I was like, "How the fuck did she do that?" So I made a point, like, then when I go and I watch it, I can catch it better now. But still, like that was well executed, I thought. Like I know some queens weren't happy with it; they were kind of like, "Oh, whatever," and I'm like, "Oh, you are missing the creativity factor."
Well, that's exactly what I told Evan. We were sitting with some friends, and they all were like, "Oh, that was such a bad performance. It was lackluster." And I'm like, "All right, hold up. First of all, she did that after you've seen everybody with these high-ass energy flips and kicks and death drops from a 10-foot box and all this other shit." I give her snaps because it was creative and different, and she's thinking outside of a box. It wasn't amazing. It was just so different compared to everybody else that it was good. It was creative. Good for you. You know, you're safe.
Yeah, I mean, and so that I will say this about the variety show thing. I think the purpose, this is more for what you were saying, Damon. I think the purpose of the variety show is to see how the queens perform live under pressure. And the reason why is because an audience can really fucking affect you if they're not really responding to what you're doing. As was the case in this episode. Somebody let their psyche, their emotional state, get the better of them. So that's what I find interesting about it. Like, I personally, I'm not a fan of this. I would have rather that they did a comedy roast, as awful as the comedy roasts have been. So that's one of the issues that I have is like, but even so, this variety show gave us 2 very specific, not good performances. And that's how the game goes. Like, one person was unprepared, in my opinion. I don't know what the fuck she was thinking. And the other one thought she knew what she was doing, but got so swept up in the moment, didn't realize how it played. And I was like, you got the deserved judges' critiques that you got. That's how that goes. Which kind of gets me into our next segment. But is there anything else you guys want to say in general about the show before we move to snaps and eye rolls?
No, because I was thinking about where you were about to go, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have that for my eye rolls anyway. So.
Yeah. So let's move into our next segment. We call it hits and misses. We title it snaps and eye rolls. So we give snaps to the good shit and eye roll that motherfucking crazy crap that like doesn't make any sense. So my snaps are for episode 1, All-Star Season 3. Reading is Dragamental, bitches. Right off the bat, no sooner than BB Zahara Benet is brought in and everybody is trying to get over the fact that the first winner is in the lineup with them, we immediately jump into reading. And I was like, whoa, okay. Now, there is an edit issue, and I'm kind of pissy about this. Did any of you catch the fuck up visually in the reading challenge?
Well, I will own it. I only watched the episode once, so you're going to have to probably be a little bit more specific.
Okay, so
maybe. So you'll
when
have
we
to
introduce the reading challenge, Mama Ru calls out who? Who comes out to help start the challenge?
Pit crew.
Right, the pit crew. So the boys come out and they have all the sunglasses in front of them, and then I noticed something really weird. Nobody picks sunglasses. Everybody uses the opera glasses.
Oh.
And if you pay closer attention, guess what's not in the reading? The pit crew. They make an entrance and then they literally disappear. Shame on you, World of Wonder Productions. You fucked your direction up. Because you know why? Because reading is not done in an instant. Reading is a challenge you prepare for. So they break after the introduction. They go to their stations. They write out their reading jokes. They probably have 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something. And then they come back and get back in their line on their X's. And we start the shoot again. But guess what y'all forgot? You forgot to bring the nearly naked men back out onto the set to stand there. I'm like, why did you bother to bring them out? Why did you bother to bring them out with 2 platters of sunglasses nobody took? It was the dumbest move in the entire episode. I was so irritated. I caught it the first time. I was like, wait, where's the guys? And don't get me wrong, they are not my type. I mean, yeah, there's a redhead, but still, he's straight, he's cute, but that's it. Like, they're not for me. But the fact that they disappeared on screen, like Samantha in Bewitched with her nose just wrinkled and all of a sudden, poof, they were gone. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, what is this shit? The pit crew does just not disappear.
You have to see them walk away because you want to see their beautiful butts.
Yeah, something. So I was really irritated about that. But I will say this, back to the reason why I gave snaps is because they did it right out the gate in the very first episode, basically the first fucking challenge. And there were some great reads. And there were some not so great ones. I'm going to ignore the not so great ones. There were some really good ones in there. Yeah. I was highly amused, and I think Bendela is a problem because she keeps marketing herself as the nice queen. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing you said in your like promo that you're the queen with a heart of gold and a shiv in her purse, because you are really, no offense, living up to charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Nerve being one of them, because when she was doing reads, as someone else pointed out, I think in the pit stop recap, I think Alaska and Manila are talking. You can see it online on vh1.com. Ding. They're talking about how Bendela has that certain style of like read that's a callback. So basically, she starts off really nice with a compliment, and then zings you kind of in the end, so you don't quite see it coming. And I've seen it, and I thought it was really funny, but yeah, there was some interesting ones. But anyways, that was my snaps. Was for I thought the bringing the reading challenge up front first, getting it out of the way was awesome. Eye rolls. Yeah. So here's the thing, Chi-Chi. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking. I really don't. I applaud you for using yellow trash bags for your second workroom entrance to call back to your first entrance with a black trash bag. However, where the fuck was the creativity for your variety show? I was so confused. She comes out in this like fringy swimsuit, but like, you know, blingy, with really bad hair and those fucking awful shoes. Yep. She deserved to be read for that. I'm sorry. I cannot forgive that. Chester, you said you were at Union Cafe. You were live messaging me as this shit's going down. And you were like, well, this is awkward. And I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. And I was like, what's awkward about it? Like, I didn't put together that you are literally in the bar with Chi-Chi there, who is obviously fucking up the challenge and is going to be in the bottom 2, yet she's your host.
Right. I'm sitting there and I texted you that and I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, this is the bottom 2. Chi-Chi might go home. Gary, this is awkward.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was, you know, I wasn't thinking in that moment about Chi-Chi being there. I'm going back to look at our chat. You were like, well, this is awkward. I was like, why? Because there's a decision between the worst performer versus the threat. And I'm referring to who's in the bottom 2. And you were like, no, because Chi-Chi is here.
Because I wouldn't know what to do. If I were her, I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I've got 150 people watching me about ready to lose.
Well, but you take that on, like, you know, when you take on these gigs, like, so Chi-Chi agreed to the contract to be for the first episode. I mean, look at who went home. She probably was at one of her bars like hosting her thing. So you know going into it what's coming and what's about to happen. So my feeling on it is you have months, you have time to think about how you're going to handle this. My hope for Chi-Chi was that she made it funny and played it up and didn't play the victim, or was like, you know, I was robbed. You know what I mean?
People were, you know, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? She's like, you're just going to have to wait and find out.
Of course they were. Yeah.
Okay. So my eye rolls are for Chi-Chi's decisions. That variety show performance thing. I hate to say this, Chi-Chi, but any queen in any bar, in any city, anywhere, I think in the United States of America, I could have seen that. There was nothing spectacular about that. There was nothing all-star about that.
Well, let me rephrase. I think, okay, this is my, given what I know of what she was doing, the baton twirling, what have you, and some of the tricks, I think she got in her head, and she's probably like, I've done this 1,000 times before, but I've always done it like as a boy, and I've always worn like the dance shoe, the little dance shoe, or whatever she was fucking wearing. I hate what she was wearing. I will own what she was wearing was awful. The dress, the leotard, the hair, the no pads,
and no padding.
Yeah. And everything was bad. I will just say that. I will own, as a drag queen, it was bad. As a doing it, like if you took away the fact that she was a drag queen, I think it would have been really, really great. Because the baton twirling, the tricks, what have you, probably worked really. Although I don't think I ever saw her throw it and catch it. Like I don't remember that. And that's no offense.
She did, but she almost dropped it.
Okay. All right. So that's on her. But again, the fact that she'd used this as a drag talent is what is the problem. I think if she had just done it as a boy or whatever, it probably would have been good. I personally would have rather, I know she can perform, I know she can dance. I would have rather her, no offense, dance to, a song. Granted, she would have had to have gotten permission to do the song, blah, blah, blah. But we know she can do her moves in heels. We know this. And we know she can do it in a big ass wig too. I've seen that 20 times before. So I think really it was just some bad choices.
Here's my thing. I don't have a problem with the baton twirling, because I'll say this. I told you guys back when the holiday season was on, and I got to see Latrice motherfucking Royale do color guard. It is unconventional as far as drag queens go. Shit, in the very first season, Chanel juggled clubs. Yeah. I thought they were on fire at first. They weren't, but that would have been cool. But that is an artistry in and of itself. It's just the routine wasn't that great in my opinion. Yeah. The outfit was crappy. The shoes were unforgivable, and that hair. I was like, really? Like, is that? Did you just pick up hair? You pick up Tumbleweave Girl? What is that? Like, it just it was so disappointing because Chi-Chi. Her problem, I think, now is she talks too much a good game and can't live up to it based on just this one thing, this one episode. So she better get her shit together outside of this one episode, because I was like, you kept talking about how now you got some money and you got this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of like, yeah, but your performance on the variety show looked like you came right out of your season.
Evan said
not even Telegram the end chat. Of the season.
What he said?
Like came into the season.
He said it in our Telegram chat. Don't forget her weird hair. It made her look like she was 16. It's true though.
I don't know.
That hair was
She looked like a majorette. Like in high school.
I will say I will say this, and this is stepping inappropriately out of my life experience. If she had mixed and blended together the majorette stuff with a stepping routine, like that might be something more that I could have been excited by, but it wasn't
sorority stepping.
Yeah, You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's the part where I was kind of like, oh, this is what do you know? Like, there's really nothing. She's not even doing like gymnastic shit like Katya. Not to compare her, but do you know what I mean? It's like there was really nothing
Yeah.
elevating it. That was my problem. Was I was like, it's a series of unfortunate decisions.
Yeah.
It was not good hair, not a great outfit, unforgivable footwear, and choreography and a routine that wasn't all that great. So
That was a choice.
yes, to quote Tatya, choices. So anyways, Damon, what are your snaps and eye rolls?
Okay. Let me get to the doc so I can remember what I put
Lordy,
down.
wine's going to my head.
All right. So of all the stuff that's been going on, one of the things I really fucking enjoyed throughout this whole episode were not the Queen's reads and what have you, but it was RuPaul's. Like, you know, some of the things that she said, but one of the big ones, the hilarious one that I love the most, they were doing the judges' critiques, and Michelle said something to the effect of what she always says, like, I know you're all stars, I'm going to treat, you know, I'm treating you at a different level, whatever. And RuPaul literally said to her, are you going to make somebody go home? Quit.
She said,
I
might make some of you cry. And that's when Rue said, yes, but are you going to make them quit?
Are you going to make somebody quit? And I was just like, yes. I was laughing my ass off sitting here on the couch because I was just like, it was perfect. It was appropriate. It just hit because yes, it was a little tongue-in-cheek joke to Miss Adore going home last season, but I loved it because there's, you know, so I've been saying one of the things I like about All Stars is that everyone like has done this before, right? So they should not expect, with the exception, you know, a couple of queens didn't have Michelle on it, but I'm sure they've seen the episodes. They shouldn't expect Michelle to hold back on anything. They should expect Carson Kressley to have the wide-eyed gape or wide mouth gape look of shock that he always has. And they suspect Ross Matthews to be gayer than fuck. That's always the case. Like, just, yeah, and Rue to just be to at some point maybe have a minor like meltdown football kind of thing moment. Anyway, but that's what I like. What I like most is that they're not friendly, and that's not the word I'm looking for, but they know what's going on. So they're very much, they're not necessarily relaxed, but they're definitely, it's a lot more laid back. The jokes were coming left and right. I love the, you know, while the contestants were deliberating, the judges were they're watching Vanessa lip sync for her life against Pork Chop. And they left it at that.
All right. I still think there's some shady shit going on with that. Because Pork Chop has been a pillar of this show since season 1. She was the very first queen to go home, deservedly. And she has always been, she's always gotten a shout out. Like, usually it's in the Reunited live theater show, you know.
Hey, Pork Chop.
Right. And then this is so fucking weird. She's like, Vanessa's going to lip sync against Pork Chop. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. Why are we making the guest judge lip sync against the previous queen? And then it's not a previous queen. It's the biggest, fattest, thickest cut of a real pork chop you ever seen in your goddamn life. Held up on a pile of mashed potatoes on a pillar, like in a spotlight on the stage. It was so John Waters weird. I was like, what is this shit? And on top of it, if you're going to put a goddamn pork chop on a plate, put some sauce on the son of a bitch. Who the hell wants to eat a piece of meat that's dry? I was so irritated. I was like, there's mashed potatoes, girl. Where's your gravy? Where's your gravy?
Damn.
Sarge, if you are one of the cameramen and you're part of the production, hey, Wintergreen. Like, here's the thing. That's bullshit. Someone should have stepped up and said, could you at least go to the dollar store and buy the cheapest looking motherfucking gravy and pour a little? Oh, it was awful. Awful. Unforgivable.
Well, okay, so I will say this. More than likely, what happened, they couldn't put the gravy on it because the plate was tilted.
They could have
I'm just
doctored some shit up. It's fucking.
I know.
I'm not.
Just let it go. Let it, Gary, Foodie, let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
We'll go back to my.
I know that's my. But that was like my thing. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. It was hilarious. I can't wait to see what they're going to do next when the contestants go back, because I want to be like, what the hell are they going to do? But it was like that was my thing. Like, I love RuPaul's kind of reading and the jokes that they were making. My eye rolls are just real. I put Morgan, period. And there were a lot of choices that Morgan made, from the reads to the performance in the the variety show.
Her performance. Yeah.
There were a lot of things that bad choices overall, and I just think like her. Okay, she immediately put a target on her back when she pretty much told all the girls that she was not going to eliminate based on the judges' critiques or performance or what have you. She's literally going to judge. She's literally going to eliminate based solely on her competition. And I get where she was going with like being upfront and honest about it, but no. Like, you do not. If you watch any reality show, any like thing where people are getting eliminated and they're being eliminated by their peers, you never pull that card of how you're eliminating your people. You never do that. You never say, I'm going to do this. No. And her decision to do that is what, no offense, put her in the crosshairs. And no matter when she was going to leave, that was it. Like, the minute you're in the bottom, no, I don't care who you're up against or who's the leader top of it. I'm going to get rid of that person because I know exactly how I know exactly how that person is going to eliminate whoever. So if I'm competition to her, which, no offense, everybody is, then I'm going to get eliminated. So why should I keep her around? Why?
Yeah.
Well, unless she's Roxy, and yeah, she's so terrible, she sucks. Like, no one's gonna know. Anyway,
to be fair, on Roxy for All Stars 2 wasn't bad all the time. She had instances. She just squeaked by.
She was a motherfucking cat. She had more lives in that season than necessary. She should have gone home sooner than what she did. Like, that's
true.
That's the thing, is that I was like, I don't know. But anyways, anything else? Sam?
No, that was pretty much it for me.
Okay. Chester, snaps and eye rolls?
Well, my eye rolls were also for, I originally had them for Morgan. So since I'm going to piggyback off of Damon's, it comes down to two things. Her reads were fucking awful.
Yeah.
Really, bitch. Your mouth looks like, Black & Decker because of all the tools. I heard that when I was like 10. Really? That's the best you could come up with? And then she said something else to... Oh, who'd she say it about? Her other read.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, what she said has escaped me. But I was like, that's very unoriginal.
Yeah, it just was very... It was just very just blah.
Any drag queen could have pulled that out of their hat.
Given what we've seen of Morgan, given what we know of Morgan, from season 2 to even now, she has been categorized, no offense, as a bitch. She's always been a bitchy, but she's always been real.
And she owns it. She said this season she knows she's going to be the bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. So
apparently, Evan doesn't think I'm drinking enough.
Somebody wants his boyfriend drunk.
Apparently, I guess I'm bottoming later.
Oh my god.
I'll drink to that.
Anyway, but that was my thing. Oh god. But that was my thing. Like, she kind of came in and she was going to be this, no offense, she was this very real, like, upfront kind of bitch. I'm going to be in your face. And then we get to the reading and it's just like bleh. And then we get to the competition, the variety show, and her song was it was okay. I think I liked it. If I listened to it again, I probably would like it more because it was very much but it was just but the performance just wasn't that good.
The song didn't bother me. It was your standard drag race. I'm going to release a track album, song.
Yeah,
but there wasn't anything great about it. That's not what bothered me about the performance itself. It bothered me because she kept turning to the other queens. It was singing to them. And even at some point, Shangela was like, "Who you mad at?" Because that was part of the lyrics. She's like, "You mad, girl? You mad, girl? You mad, girl?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much, yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
But even that isn't even the worst part about it. The worst part about it, about all of, with her song, when they had asked her, why do you think you're in the bottom two? And she's like, well, I've never recorded a track before. The fuck does that matter? You're a drag queen. Come up with a performance. It shouldn't matter what the track is it's playing, whether it's yours or not.
Yeah.
Right, but she couldn't, she couldn't see what she did. Like that's part of the issue. That's part of the issue about being judged. You can't see what everybody else sees. Like if you get an opportunity and they do a playback, like if you did something to camera, like in the very first season, they did an Oprah style interview. So they got to see themselves on camera doing interview. So they can understand what other people see. But in this case, they don't get a playback. Like they don't get to see how they perform. So they only have what the judges tell them. So when the judges say to Morgan that, you were basically performing to the queens, not to the audience, not to us. Morgan can't see that until it actually airs on Logo.
Right.
Sorry, on VH1. Sure. And then she's like, oh yeah, I really fucked that up. I spent 2/3 of my song busy performing to my competitors, not to the audience.
Whoops. This is me being Morgan.
Pointing to the audience. You kids, get off my lawn.
No.
in her Mad Max Thunderdome fucked a turkey outfit,
She looked great though.
Well, all right. So I will say this. Yes. Michelle Visage deservedly complimented her on the 4 swimsuit bodysuits on stage. That was the one that was the best executed because it was fucking bedazzled to shit. I mean, and she killed at least a half a flock of fucking chickens and turkeys for the feathers and shit. I mean, so yeah, she had some good stuff. I will criticize this though. Who the fuck, Morgan, did your hair? Because you put that wig on, that shit flying around should have never happened. Better. You've been a queen for a long fucking time. Where's your Aquanet girl? You should have secured the motherfucker out of that wig, because these strands just flying around were annoying me to no end because your hair was too perfect. That was my issue. The hair was too perfect to start with, and then it just gets ugly when it gets messy. That, right. So you got this crazy shit going on, and it just bugged the fuck out of me because he went backstage and then she took the flyaways, and was secured him and crap like that. But I was like, no, girl, it should have never happened to begin with. If you're gonna wear this oval egg shaped wig thing with these stripes, and it is very artistic, it did look good. Until you
so fucking crimped. That was 1984 crimp.
Whatever.
Anyways, so yeah, I think she should have. But we're taking away Chester's time. Back to you, Chester. So your snaps and eye rolls. Originally, your eye roll was for Morgan, but you changed things. So
Yes. Okay. So my snaps is for Aja's performances from the moment she walked into the workroom. She looked fantastic. Her reads were great.
Mm-hmm.
Her onstage performance. Overall, if I were to, rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I'd say it was like a 7.5. However, the opening of her performance, without, I'm going to imagine the whole sword thing didn't happen because I didn't understand that. But the voguing was so fucking awesome. Like, I keep playing that, 8-second clip over and over again because I'm trying desperately to find some kind of flaw in it, and I can't. Everything that she does, all of her moves are on beat. They're all symmetrical. They're all perpendicular. They're lined up perfectly with one another. I cannot get over how perfect that voguing was when she came out on stage.
Well, to be fair, Aja comes from NYC. I mean, she's Brooklyn. I know.
She comes from a voguing scene.
Right. She comes from a city that is known for the house and voguing and the balls. So I was not shocked or surprised by that, but I will give her the golf claps and the snaps for executing because it was almost flawless.
It wasn't, you're right. It wasn't the fact that she did it, which was amazing, because we've seen her do things of that nature before. It's just we've never seen it to that level of sophistication. And I think that's a key word to describe her performance, is that it was sophisticated. Every move of hers was planned out and executed precisely.
Right. It said to me that it was well crafted, and she rehearsed the motherfuck out of that. She knew what she was doing. Probably. She requested the platform box. Yes. The fact that Kennedy used it as part of her performance, I found highly speculative. It was obvious to me that Aja used it for what she did, but Kennedy using it the way she did in the lineup, unfortunately, makes it look like Kennedy used it because it was there. Now, if they'd gone in the opposite order, I probably would feel this. I would feel the opposite way, which is that Aja made use of it because Kennedy brought it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's shitty because there's no way to know truly how that got planned and mapped out.
Yeah,
but
I will say this much.
I will say for Kennedy, like, everyone lost their mind about Aja. Spoiler alert. So she goes up on a platform. She's voguing, blah blah blah. And of course, they have to put in the sound clip of Milk saying, "Is she gonna jump from there?" And and she jumps, and she does, the what the fuck you call it?
Death drop.
Right. She does the death drop from up above. Right. So she, shablam onto the, and everybody, and of course we have to get RuPaul's reaction where she's like, like freaking out, and I'm like, girl, it ain't that big a deal. Like, Have you missed the most famous entrance by a drag queen in all time? And I can't remember her name, which is a disgrace, but she enters as Wonder Woman to I Need a Hero and falls from the motherfucking ceiling. So
yes,
a queen leaping off a box to do a death drop is not that original or that exciting, in my opinion. I've already seen a queen in the 80s drop from the ceiling in a split automatically to start a number. So this is like, okay, whatever. But I will say, that's true. She did it in that number. Anyways, I will say this: Kennedy, in her thing, when she tumbled onto the box, that to me was far more impressive. I was like, girl, you have to know body proportion and fucking physics to understand height and like how that's going to work so you can tumble and get planted on the motherfucker in the correct position. That was the one I was like, yes, queen. Like that's how that works. So not that the rest of Kennedy's number was super exciting to me, to be honest, because it's kind of normal Kennedy, but you know. But that part of it was good. Anyways,
that's been my thing. So go ahead, Chester. Keep going.
Aj's performances. Yes, that was your snaps.
Yes, and then I was debating on talking about a little bit more about our performances, but I probably should wait. So my eye rolls are for Kennedy's entrance look. And Miss Cindy Lou Who in your little fucking Alola form, Pokemon Alola form, whatever the fuck you got going on.
I heard it was a black hair atomic bomb replica. I heard it was a palm tree like aesthetic. Like I've heard some crazy shit about that hair.
The funniest one I've seen or heard so far was Kennedy Davenport in her Alola form.
Nice.
And if you're not a Pokemon player, Alola form is from Sun and Moon, the latest iteration of Pokemon, where all of their necks got stretched.
Interesting.
But for the most part, I liked her look. The hair was interesting. I liked it for the creativity value. What pissed me off about it, and that pisses me off about so many queens, is her fucking contacts.
Yes. Oh my god.
Because they're so distracting.
Yes.
And all of the mirrors all over her face. I didn't get it because it took away from her facial features, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I know it's her face because it's sitting on top of her head, but it doesn't look like a face.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say this. I was not a fan of the mirrors on the face. The hair was the disco ball clutch. I don't know what she was doing with that. The outfit was all right. I didn't have a problem a whole lot with the outfit. I get what she was doing with it and why she continued the mirrors up onto her head and her face. This is where my problem was. It was too much, as it's classically been said, edit. Like, take something off before you go out. And so because she had the cat eye mask with all the mirror stuff, I was like, yeah, the forehead and the cheeks and that, you could have left all that off. It would have been fine. Or what I would have been way more impressed is if, girl, you had spent the time and you had rhinestoned your motherfucking face everywhere.
Yes.
If you had actually put little individual jewels covering every spare centimeter of your face with different colors for eyebrow and, you know, eyeshadow or whatever, I would have been way, way, way more impressed. That what she did just kind of didn't make sense to me. I was like, okay, it's a look. As Tatya says,
it just
choices.
It just didn't. I just don't like it. I'm looking at a picture of it again now, and I'm kind of like I think it. Okay, it takes so much away from her face. Away from her face, and Kennedy has a great face, and when her mug is beat, it is amazing. In this, like looking at this picture, like I'm looking at a picture, and it's a picture of someone taking a picture, and I think it's for like the show or whatever. Like I'm looking dead at her face, and I cannot see. I see her lips, but I don't see her eyes. I don't see her nose. I don't see her mouth. I can kind of figure it out if I kind of look really closer, and then I see those awful, 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 god awful contacts that she had in, and it takes
contacts
too much away. It takes too much away, and that's my problem. I know you know. We know who you are, Kennedy. Like we knew when you came in, we knew it was Kennedy, blah, 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 blah. I get that, whatever. But I think you gave yourself a disservice by coming in with all of that on and that hair up. And it just all didn't work. It just didn't work. it was a miss for me.
Evan comes in, he's like, "What are you guys talking about?" And I'm like, "Kennedy's face," and he says, "Which time?"
Ooh,
Wow.
girl.
I did not have a problem. I did not have a problem with her other faces, just the entrance one.
Yeah.
It's
so
the
there's
contacts, and they bother me. Coco is the same way. She wears blue contacts over brown irises, and it just looks weird because they like close down, and then your eyes just look fucking odd. Stop wearing them. Anyway,
I've seen some queens that are girls that do it, and drag queens and people of color that wear different color eyes, and I like them. And sometimes I like it because I know that it's enough of a contrast that it works. However,
yeah, you're right.
my problem with these contrast, it wasn't the fact that it wasn't the color that was the problem. If you look at the iris of the contact, like not the iris, the pupil, the little black part, it doesn't look like a traditional circle. It looks like a fish eye.
Right.
And that's, to me, what takes too much away from it. It doesn't look. It not only it doesn't look natural, but it doesn't even look real. And unfortunately, it like I said, it takes too much away. I would have been fine if she had worn a blue contact lens, if it had just been like a blue contact lens and a natural pupil. I might have been a little bit better with that, because I've seen girls do that, and I'm not too yay about it, but I get the idea behind it. It's sort of meant to give you a different eye and a glamorous look and whatever, blah 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 bullshit. But I just hated that the pupil looked like a fisheye. It just didn't work.
Anyway. I didn't even think it looked like a fisheye. I don't know what it looked like, but yeah,
I can't even tell you. Yeah, I wish I could. Oh, there's a better picture. Thank you. God bless it. Yeah, it just doesn't. God, that's a lot of mirrors. So I'm just gonna. This is the picture I found. There's a picture of her. It's a close up of her face, and it's just too much. Too much. I would have liked it if she had taken them off her chin and the lower half of her face and kept the mask on. I think I would have preferred it if she had just worn the mask, kept it all the rest of the mirrors and stuff off her face, and just that was my fucking ugly contacts out. And yeah,
that was my take, Damon, was that she was trying to replicate all the mirrors in her outfit to continue up. But the problem is, girl, you're already wearing pageant drag earrings that go with big hair. So the earrings are already a miss. And then you put all this stuff all over your forehead and then your chin and your neck. No, you didn't need to do any of that. Just the cat eye outline thing that you applied the mirrors onto probably would have been enough. So yeah, I don't know. But anyways.
Too much. Edit. Yeah. Edit the fuck out of it.
All right.
But it doesn't matter, because that's just what they wear when they come in. This is my walking on a Sunday look. Fuck that shit. Anyway. Are we ready for
closing thoughts?
Yeah.
All right. So my closing thoughts are: buckle up, babies, because there's more to come. Something is brewing. And that was given away by the beginning of the episode and the end of the episode. So the beginning of the episode is Alaska and Chad doing a spoof on The Handmaid's Tale. So they're running around in these gorgeous red caped outfits with the white head thing, talking about how boring and lonely it is to be in the Drag Queen Hall of Fame. And then at the end of the whole episode, Morgan McMichaels is against green screen with her maquette. And she's talking to the camera about, being the first to let go. Spoiler alert. And and then the magic television comes on and it's Mama Rue saying how she has her back. And then if you pay close attention in the background of the workroom, which she's not really in, then you see like 3 times her facing the camera. And the first time there's nobody, and then the second time I think there's nobody, and it's the third time is when you see Alaska and Chad standing at the steps.
The first time there's nobody.
Yeah.
The second time, Alaska and Chad are at the door.
Okay.
At the top of the steps. The third time, they're at the bottom of the steps.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a whole play about the Handmaid's Tale spoof has something to do with the twists and turns this season. Like that somehow they're taking that pop culture phenom thing from the series and playing it into stuff. So I think there's more to come. I don't know quite what it is. I'm curious to see. I have my personal favorites. I don't know if in the very first episode we want to talk about who we want to win, but yeah, like I have my inklings. Yet again, we're at another season where I'm kind of like, okay, half of y'all don't need to be here.
Well,
well, it's a competition. There's a reason why they're there, because half of them got to go home before it really gets,
someone's got to go home first.
And right, second, and I have to agree that, like as Oz just said, Morgan done fucked up. Do not reveal the way you're going to play out loud to the rest of the queens. As someone else pointed out, it was I think it was between Manila and Alaska in the pit stop recap. I thought it was funny because both Alaska and Manila were like, those queens saw Chi-Chi DeVayne getting ready and nobody said anything.
Yep.
Nobody said, girl, are you sure you want to wear that hair? Girl, you sure you want to wear them shoes? Like,
yeah,
that's probably not a wise decision. In a regular season, there might have been a little more sisterly love about this, but it's All Stars, baby. And they were like, nope. You look great, girl. You look fine.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love that look. That's amazing. You go right on ahead.
Uh-huh. So
dance your heart out.
Yeah.
Spin that baton. Get that crown.
David, what was your what's your closing thought?
My closing thought essentially is like, where's the twist? Like, I'm really looking forward to what they're doing. I want to know what this whole fucking Handmaid's Tale is. I've not seen that show.
Neither have I.
I don't know what all it's about. So I'm very curious about how that's going to playing into this twist. If it's the same twist as last year, even if it's, I would be kind of okay with it. I like that. I liked it last year that they, take the final 5 queens and bring them back in and 1 or 2 come back. I like that concept from last season. If that's the twist, okay. I mean, yes, it's predictable, but again, I wouldn't hate it. I'm looking forward to what they do, but I'm kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop. The girls obviously will have an idea that there's something going on. Hopefully, they saw last season, they know something's going to happen. It's never the end for a queen ever in a show, but we'll see. Chester.
So my closing thoughts are in regards to how many hypotheses are floating about for the return of BB. One of them being, Gary kind of hinted at this earlier, that she might be there but not actually playing is a hypothesis that somebody has come up with, and it's been floating around on the internet. Mm-hmm. And the whole reason why is because, and again, I've never seen just like you guys, I've never seen Handmaid's Tale, so I don't know exactly what happens in it. I understand that it's about a cult, but beyond that, I don't know. But from reading this thing that somebody had wrote up, they said that in Handmaid's Tale, there is somebody who is known as a mole, and that they're sent in there to watch what's going on and to report back what's going on. It's plausible. That's why she's there. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting in a couple shows when we figure out what the twist is going to be after a couple of the queens get eliminated and we figure out why are Chad and Alaska hanging around when they've already got their crowns. Why are they there? What's going to happen? Are they going to be teamed up with other competitors? Like, maybe the winners of each season are going to be coming back all at once and they're going to be teamed up for a challenge or something. Maybe it'll be like a makeover challenge. I don't know. Everything's up in the air right now.
We'll see.
There is two other things that I wanted to mention. And the first one is, if you don't know about it, there is something called Fantasy League Drag Race. And you can go to vh1.com, somewhere on there exactly. I'll try and find the link. I'll make sure it's in our doc before we're done. And you can download an app. Is it a downloaded app?
I don't know. I haven't.
I am way too trashed for this by this point. But anyway, you can play Fantasy League. You get to type in who you want to be your top 3, who's going to be your alternate, and you can play along every week. The other thing is while we were sitting at dinner, one of the people that was with me was my friend Dean. And he slides his phone over to me. He's like, look, I've already got a bingo. We're only like 10 minutes into the show. And it was things that are going to happen on the show. Like, Shangela's going to say hallelujah. Obviously, that's kind of a giveaway, but
that should be center square.
You get the idea, that kind of thing. Well, no. Milk brings up Mark Jacobs. That was a square. And Milk brought up Mark Jacobs. So I asked him where he got it. He said he was going to send me a link. I still don't have it, but I will make sure that I post that as soon as I find it. If not, I just might very may well make my own for us. So that's all I got.
I will say this because my laugh just reminded me of, so for those of you that are not aware, in All Stars, instead of a lip sync for your life, it's a lip sync for your legacy. So the top 2 best performing queens, as deemed by Rue and the judges, they go head to head in a lip sync, and the winner actually chooses which queen from the bottom 2 leaves.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting dynamic where you have a bottom 2 and a top 2. And the top 2 compete against each other, and the one that bests the other in the lip sync performance is the ultimate decider of which queen goes home. So Aja and Bende La Creme are the 2 queens that are considered the top performers. They lip sync against each other. Hold on a second, and then Bendela is the winner, and then she decides that Morgan's the first one to go. So all of that plays out. I have to say this. Bendela.
Wait.
What?
Can we just back up just ever so slightly before you go into that? I just want to point out that the song that was chosen for them to lip sync to was Nicki Minaj's Anaconda. Of all fucking songs to come up, I remember I'm sitting in the bar and I hear that come on and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to do this song.
Yeah, and to be
Edited,
fair, well, yeah, it was edited, but to be fair, it was the perfect song for Bende La Creme.
Yes.
There was no way I think that Aja could quite bring it to the level that Bendela did. Aja did a really good job, but Bendela knew how to take the comedy of her character and have fun with that song. And like, I mean, I was like just beside myself, so happy with the way she was performing. It was a great job on her. And there's a laugh in it that just made me think when I laughed a moment ago. It made me think of that lip sync and how she really, really knocked it out of the park with that. And so, yeah, it was very interesting. Now, what I find is an interesting twist, though, or a presumed twist, is that Aja appears to have not agreed with Bendela's decision to let Morgan go.
I did catch that. As soon as she said that name, you could see Aja going, like a huge gasp.
And I was like, okay, so apparently Aja was going to let Chi-Chi go. And I thought, why? Like, yes, technically out of the two of them, out of Morgan and Aja, or Morgan and Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi was, no offense, the worst of the two performances. But Morgan opened her motherfucking mouth and she gets to eat what she served, what she spit out, which is to say, I would send home the strongest competition. Bye, girl. Yeah. That's how simple that is. Like, you laid the groundwork for your own leaving. That's the part that kills me about this is Morgan got her ass handed right back to her, all 7 layers of couch foam. You know what I mean? I was like, really, girl? You flat out said in the workroom, I'm sending home my biggest competition, the person I find that is a threat. Okay. If that's how you want to play and you just told the whole room, guess what the other 9 girls are going to do? Bye. Like,
send your ass home.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting that Bendela makes that decision. Now, what Bendela says is like for the good of the group or our family or something like that. Like, so it did kind of come across like a little too kumbaya. Like, you know, she thinks that they all agree with this. And I'm like, oh, can't wait till the beginning of the next episode, because when they come back to the workroom, now that Morgan's gone, I'm sure that's going to be real interesting to see how that plays out. So, but yeah, that would be that. Any other closing thoughts or comments before we end the show?
Nope. I need the engines have started. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say. Like,
are you good, Chester?
Yep.
All right. So if you would like to get in touch with us, there's plenty of ways to do that. You can go to our website, obviously, cubsoutloud.com. You can also send us an email, which is cubsoutloud@gmail.com. You can leave us a voicemail message, and we would play it on the show once we get our technical shit figured out. Right. And that number to call us at is 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. If you go to Facebook, Twitter, Google+, you can go and put in Cubs Out Loud, and you should be able to find us. Telegram is the new social chat messaging system that we're using. We're pretty addicted to it. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. And that's what happens after I drink 2/3 of a bottle of wine. I'm just going to be blatant. It's fun. It's secure. As we say, we go from nerd to XXX porn in like about a half a second. It's actually quite enjoyable. And I'm glad that we made that decision. So in order to find us, you can look on there. We have a COL Drag Race chat group, although I don't think I have a link currently.
We don't. Our Telegram link is tinyurl.com/telegram-COL. The Drag Race group we would have to send you a link. So if you message us, we will get you a link.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep trying to create a link and it doesn't give me one. So we'll get that squared up for the Drag Race grouping. But, and then, of course, the bearunderground.net is where you can join the COL Entourage tag to see what's going on there. If you would please, we would greatly appreciate it. Go to iTunes. You can rate Cubs Out Loud on there. Stitcher Radio can give us a thumbs up. If you want to get in touch with me personally, you can find me as GarBear73. That's GARBAR73 on Tumblr, Bear Underground, Growler, a bunch of places. Damon?
If you want to find me, I'm not muted. Yeah. If you want to find me, you can find me as Theater Cup 79 on various Bear whatever sites, including Growler and Facebook, or you can find me as pup_Umbra on Twitter.
You can find me on Tumblr or Twitter under the name The Pup Up There, or various bear dating sites across the net under the name Pup Shutter or Cupcake76.
All right, and with that said, we're exiting like we have to try to match the show. So until next time, you have a good one, kitty girls.
I really have to pee.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.